There are 3 ways to memorize poetry. Way 1. If you have a certain deadline, which is pretty fairly far away, like 2 weeks or a week and a half away, and it's a short poem about like this long, do it in increments like this many lines per day. So, for example, 2 lines per day, you can say like this, and do 2 lines per day, which will make it easier because you're only memorizing 2 lines, which in general is pretty much easier than memorizing the whole thing the night before the assignment is due, or you need to tell somebody about this poem. Yeah. But you could do it a different way if you have a significantly less time, because if you don't have 1, 2, 3, if you don't have 3, 6, 9, if you don't have 10 days to memorize a poem, you could do it by stanzas or half stanzas or something like that. Way number 1 is to do it incrementally and to really engrave it into your brain. Do it while taking a shower or brushing your teeth or waking up or in bed, because that will engrave it into your mind while doing a routine, which personally has helped me memorize poems. Alright, so way number 2 is by listening to it on, for example, Spotify, or recording yourself and then listening to it over and over and over again. And of course, this won't engrave it into your brain like doing it incrementally will, but it will give you a fair grasp of how to do it. What I have found is that by listening to somebody recite it, you get a fair grasp of what it is. And then for a couple of days, like this, if you only have 2 days, this is a really good way to memorize a poem. Like every night or morning, you listen to somebody recite the poem, and over again for for example, like 10 times in the morning, 10 times at night, which will help you memorize this. And once you've listened to it like 10 times by morning, 10 times by night, try to recite the poem with the poem in front of you by not looking at it. And if you're able to do it without it, this next step won't apply to you. But if you can't, or you're a little bit choppy, you can go on to the stuff you do know and just repeat it in your brain by going, then took the other as just as fair. Then took the other as just as fair. And do that 5 times. Or you can do then took the, etc. That has really helped me when it comes to memorizing poems, and I find it's the fastest way to do so. Way number 3 is by reciting everything 10 times. This is by far the longest, but you can get it done real fast. It can either be the longest or the shortest of the ways. The way you do this is by doing this 10 to 5 times, or 5 to 10 times, each line 5 to 10 times, and then do this line 5 to 10 times. Once you've got it down, do this time 5 to 10 times. Once you've got it down, do both lines 5 to 10 times. Then do this line 5 to 10 times. Then do all 3 lines 5 to 10 times, etc. This can be really short if you can do it. If it's a short poem, or like a short poem like this won't really apply to long poems. But if it's a short poem like this, you'll be able to get this stanza done by just doing it 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, by reciting all this 45 times. And for each one of these, because there's 4 lines, 45 times 4. And 45 times 4 is 180 times. This can really be a time sensitive method, but it can also take a really long time. So if you have between 6 to 4 days on a poem like this, you could do it if it's in the middle of way 1, which is if it's in the middle of way 1, the time frame you have for way 1, and the time frame you have from way 2 is from a week to 2 weeks by doing it incrementally every day, or by doing it by listening to it, which could take 2 days. If you have 4 to 6 days to do this, you could do 1 stanza every single day. And if you have 6 days and you're still not getting it, you can do it. Go to the parts like when you're doing it by listening to it, you can go to the parts that you're having trouble with and just memorize those 5 to 10 times again. Alright guys, thank you for watching this video on memorizing poems. As a treat for y'all, I'm going to recite this poem by memory. Take a second to pause the video and memorize it, or try to memorize it like I taught you. If you can, this poem's fairly easy. It took me 2 days to memorize doing the second method. Alright, let's go. The Road Not Taken by Tobert Frost. 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveler. Long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent and the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Then, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had really warned them about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Thank y'all for watching. Have a good week, and hopefully my advice helped.